Charlie Sheen's ex-fiance, Scottine Ross, who goes by the name Brett Rossi, filed a complaint with the California Superior Court on Wednesday, accusing the HIV-positive actor of assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, false imprisonment, and negligence. She joins us in the Fox Forum 1 New York studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
When you first met Charlie Sheen in 2013, you were 24 years old and you were an adult film actress. According to your complaint, he paid you $10,000 to engage in sex with him and had you sign a non-disclosure agreement beforehand. What did that NDA say?
The NDA essentially said whatever happens beyond here, you don't talk about. So I say we, meaning the procedure was to check your cell phone with security, and essentially security would make you sign this NDA under duress. I mean, you have these security guards, and what are you supposed to do? You're nervous as it is. They take your cell phone, they take 2 forms of ID, and give it all away, and then you go inside. So it was it's a pretty intense process that he thought he had.
And obviously, you signed without having any legal advisement at the time?
Yes. So essentially, when I walked in, there was a security guard, and they're all trained. They usually worked for like the Israeli army or special forces or whatnot, and they basically tell you this is what you're going to do. You don't have a choice. You have no idea what you're signing. I mean, I was 24. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what I was getting into. And to be completely honest, Charlie Sheen isn't my generation. It isn't my era. Mm-hmm. So all I knew was hearsay based off of what was word on the grapevine in the adult industry.
Mm-hmm. And after you had sex with Sheen, you say that you hit it off, that you had a connection, and you decided mutually to go into a monogamous relationship with him, correct?
Yes.
At that time, you had sex 5 times, you say, with Charlie Sheen before you found his HIV medication, Truvada, in his medicine cabinet.
Yes.
You confronted Sheen, you say.
Yes.
What was his reaction to the confrontation?
It took about a week to confront him because by that point we were already so emotionally invested into each other that I didn't know how to approach the situation. Prior to me finding out, one of my best friends and I had a falling out because she had told me that word on the grapevine was he was HIV positive, and I took it very offensively, and I just felt she was jealous or whatnot. And so when I found this out, I was embarrassed. I didn't have anyone to turn to because by this point he had completely made it so I was isolated from friends, family. I had essentially no independence by this point in our relationship.
How much time would you say from the initial meeting to finding the HIV medication? How long were you seeing him at that point?
A few months.
A few months.
Mm-hmm.
So when you confronted Sheen, what was his reaction to you?
He was emotional. I firmly believe he was embarrassed. He felt ashamed. And I believe he thought that this was something that if he would have disclosed it to me in the beginning, because he had been interested in me for 6 months prior to when we had met. He'd been wanting to meet me, and I kept declining. So I think that he felt by disclosing something such as this, that it would make me think differently of him, which honestly, if he would have told me from day one, from the first time we met, there would have never been a relationship. I would have never have been sexually active with him, but I was coerced, I was manipulated, I was, you know, I fell in love with him, and, you know, what are you supposed to do by the time you're that invested into somebody?
Why did you stay in the relationship? You knew he was HIV positive. You knew there was a chance that he could have exposed you to the virus. Why did you stay?
I stayed because when we had a heart-to-heart, I asked him, is this for real? Is this what you want? Is this forever? Now and forever? And he said yes. He said, I want to marry you. I want to have a family with you. I want to have a normal life. And I truly believe at this point in his life, he really did want that. Mm-hmm. And I believed him. I believed that he was sober. I believed that he was off drugs. And when you love somebody so much, you want to believe them. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt and call me foolish, naive, stupid. I mean, people are going to call me what they're going to call me, but I loved him, and the saying, love is blind, is very accurate.
Do you think you bear any responsibility going forward with the relationship, knowing all of the risks that he could have posed to you for your health?
Health-wise, I do. But everything else that happened to me, physically, emotionally, everything else he put onto me, no.
Do you think that Charlie Sheen did disclose to every sex partner that he had HIV once he was diagnosed 4 years ago, like you said on the Today Show?
He didn't disclose it with me, but I hope he did. I hope. But as I've learned throughout our relationship, he definitely says a lot, but I don't know if he follows through with it. So I don't know. I know with me, he did not tell me. And I hope he told others.
During your relationship with Sheen, you say you became pregnant in, I believe, March 2014. Your complaint alleges that Sheen did not want the child to be HIV positive and demanded that you get an abortion. And if you didn't, he would end the relationship. Did you share his concerns at all?
By that point in our relationship, I was so isolated and alone. The only person who really knew what was going on was my mom. Mm-hmm. And he had Charlie and I had expressed to each other that we wanted children. It was him. It was his idea from the beginning. He was adamant he wanted a sixth child. And I don't know if it's because he felt like he wanted to, you know, I was going to be the fourth wife. I don't know if he felt like it was his thing of starting fresh. Maybe he could prove to himself that he could do this, and by succeeding with me would redeem everything of his past. But when I found out I was pregnant, it shocked me because we had talked about, you know, after he was done filming Anger Management, we were going to try for a baby after the wedding, which was in November. And he just completely, he was so dead set that this child was going to have HIV and he was going to be exposed and the doctors were going to find out and then they were going to tell everyone. And it really hurt because I had been so on our team. We had been such a unit that I didn't want to betray him by keeping it, but I didn't want to go against my own values. Mm-hmm.
Between July and September of 2014, you say you were on medication that was to stop the transmission of HIV between you and Charlie.
I was on medication from the day that I found out he was HIV positive. until the day we ended our relationship.
You also say in your court documents that Charlie was getting less diligent in terms of taking his own medication. What do you mean by that?
There was a point where, towards the end of our relationship, I'd say around July 2014, he went on this bender, and I had never seen him in such a state. And we went through some really hard times, and he was a completely different person. I mean, I saw Charlie as Carlos. We lived and acted as husband and wife. We weren't legally married, but we lived and acted as husband and wife. We made decisions together personally and business-wise, even regarding his children together. So when he started using, he became ultimately the Charlie Sheen that everyone knows. But it was shocking to me because I only know Carlos. So seeing this Charlie Sheen character was like a Jekyll and a Hyde, and it was frustrating because I wanted so bad to just save him. But to answer your question, when he used, and I'm not talking drinking, I'm talking drugs. In the beginning, yes, he was always diligent, but it got to a point where when you're so high on crack cocaine that you don't know what's up, what's down, if you've been locked in your room for 3 days or for 3 weeks. And he would tell me that he was still taking his medication, but I was the one who filled up his medication every week. He was not taking it on a regular basis when he was high.
In October 2014, after what you allege were months of physical, verbal, mental abuse, he ended the relationship via text. When was your wedding planned?
November 22nd.
Of 2014?
Yes.
You say you attempted suicide twice. Sheen then pestered you with insulting and demeaning messages.
Yes.
What did those messages say?
The first time I attempted suicide was on the day that I was supposed to give birth to our baby, which was October 31st. And I didn't want to, contrary to, reports, I wasn't trying to get his attention. I was trying to set myself free of the press, because for 2 years of my life, the press created this image they thought I was, because I never thought for myself. I never spoke to the press. It's documented. I never spoke to the press. They created this, home wrecker, bad girl image that, just was controlling Charlie's life, but I was actually trying my hardest to salvage his relationship with his children, his family, his friends, his work. I was trying so hard to fix his life that it became my own addiction. And when we ended it, although I knew it was toxic and it was abusive and it was awful, I felt lost and I just wanted to escape. So immediately after, I was in ICU. For the record, I overdosed on Valium and vodka. I did not take illegal substances. The Valium was prescribed to me. So the press said that I overdosed on drugs. I had a drug overdose. That I have never been an addict. I have never had addiction issues. This was solely a prescribed drug to me, and I wanted out. And it was a coward way out. It was an irresponsible way out. But it was what I felt at that time I needed to do. When I was released from the hospital, I received a text from Charlie. After he had told the press that he was in contact with me, that he came to the hospital, he said, "Funny how an ex-nursing student couldn't calculate the appropriate dosage, such as Valium, or funny how an ex-nursing student couldn't calculate the appropriate dosage with a vintage drug such as Valium to successfully kill herself." That is what he said. And it is burned in my mind, because for somebody that I was supposed to marry to say that to me, but have his PR team go and act like, oh, he was there for me. He was not. He didn't visit me. He didn't call. No, that was the text message I received.
Are you HIV positive?
No.
Do you worry that you could contract or have contracted and not know about it from Sheen?
I have tested HIV negative through the course of a year. I'm still under his doctor's care.
Okay.
Is it something that affects me when it comes to personal relationships? Definitely. For a year, I kept this secret from partners, and how am I supposed to... This was Charlie's secret, and at the end of the day, I made a promise to him that it was his secret. Mm-hmm. So when he came out publicly and blindsided everyone, I had, ex-partners ask me, why didn't you tell me, accuse me of things, ask me if I'm HIV positive. I mean, all of, people on social media said hateful things, and I didn't say anything. Even afterwards, I didn't clear my name because I wanted to be this sick form of relationship it still affects me. I'm still loyal to him after he's done so much to me, and it doesn't make sense. And I feel like this was the reason why I'm speaking now.
Yes.
Is because I had no voice during our whole relationship and afterwards because I was scared of him. I am terrified
Why
of
are
Charlie.
you scared of him?
Charlie was so abusive to me and used intimidation tactics to make me fear for my life, as well as his history of his behavior. I mean, anyone who knows Charlie knows exactly what I'm talking about without going into detail. I am terrified of him. But for a year, it's been eating me inside, staying quiet, and being scared of him. And this is my chance to have a voice for not only every woman he has hurt, emotionally or physically, but for every woman that's been abused and felt like they couldn't have a voice because they were with some A-list celebrity, or because they had money, or because they had power, or so they couldn't have a voice, and it's not fair. So if I have to sacrifice myself to lead the way for every woman to have a voice, it doesn't matter if it was a year ago, 10 years ago, last month. Don't be scared. You can't be scared because they win. And I'm not scared of the truth, and he knows the truth. So
you did enter into an agreement, correct, with Charlie to conceal his HIV status?
Had nothing to do with his HIV status.
So you went into an agreement to...
There was a settlement, but see, what I want to get across is my lawsuit, the settlement, had nothing to do with Charlie's status or with the abortion of our child.
Okay.
What it had to do with is the abuse he inflicted on to me for a year of my life, and even afterwards, emotional and physical. What the HIV status and the abortion facts are, they are what they are, but they were just contributors to the case to essentially show, look, there's a history, and I mean, it's pretty intense. And because of him, I've lost my dignity. I've had to completely find myself again. I've had to go through months and months and months of therapy. I have nightmares. And then imagine how I feel when I hear about these other girls. I feel like I am at fault because I did not tell his secret when he should have been the one to tell his secret.
The lawyers allege that for Sheen, allege that they said you breached the confidentiality agreement and that they're no longer going to give you the rest of your compensation.
Right.
When did Sheen's lawyers allegedly tell you this?
I want to say it was November 25th. They sent my attorneys that email.
Mm-hmm. So why are you filing the lawsuit now? Why now?
I want justice. If I wanted money, I would have kept our child. If I wanted money, I would have kept quiet. I want justice, and it's not just for me, but hopefully it's to show every other female that maybe he came in contact with that he's intimidated to speak up. Because if me, the fiance, speaks up and leads the pack, then, you know, maybe it gives other people strength. And if it doesn't give them strength, I don't care, because I know that there's someone out there who was in an abusive relationship, that she's going to watch this and she's going to finally have strength and have a voice. And that's powerful to me. So if I have to be the embarrassment or put myself out there for everyone else, then it is what it is.
Finally, Sheen said that he's been extorted by people. Did you extort Sheen?
I did not extort Sheen. However, I am aware of his extortions. Mm-hmm. As far as I'm concerned, when you have two attorneys discussing something of a legal matter, it's not extortion. Mm-hmm. However, I am aware that he has been extorted, and that's sad, but he allowed it. He allowed it, and
extorted because of him not disclosing his HIV status, as far as you know?
As far as I know, that's why he was extorted. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I am going against him in court is for what he did to me and how it will forever affect me for the rest of my life. It has nothing to do with the minor facts in the case. Mm-hmm. Having HIV, an abortion, etc. That is just all facts in the case. The big picture is he has a violent and aggressive behavioral condition that I really hope he seeks help for, because it's affected a lot of people, and I'm tired of everyone being paid to be quiet.
For your settlement that you reached with him, how much do you claim he paid you?
The facts are in the lawsuit.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your side of the story today and joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We reached out to Charlie Sheen about Ross's complaint and got this statement from his lawyer saying, quote, Charlie Sheen intends to vigorously defend the lawsuit filed by Scottine Ross. We are confident that Mr. Sheen will prevail in this action and will prevail on his claims for affirmative relief against her. We've also offered to have Charlie Sheen talk to us about Ross's complaint on camera, but we have not heard back. For more on Scottine Ross's lawsuit against Charlie Sheen, go to fox401.com. I'm Diana Falzone.